Hi guys, it's Sebastian with Looking, Feeling, Smelling Great. I'm back with another video for you today, and this time I have a special guest with me, Dawn Spencer Hurwitz with DSH Perfumes, and we're going to discuss which perfumes?
We're going to be talking about the Voices of Trees and Rendezvous.
Cool, so stay tuned guys. So thank you for coming by to do this video with me.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
It's a pleasure.
Tell me how you got started in perfume making.
Well, I'll give you the shorter version.
Yes.
I'm an artist. I was in art school, and while I was in art school, I was also studying herbology and aromatherapy. I was actually kind of sick at that time, and learning to find alternative ways to heal myself so that I wouldn't have to be medicated. And one thing led to another. I met somebody who knew somebody who was looking for someone to do custom work. And I needed like the 30th job or something that I needed in school, and met with them. I'd never done retail before. I'd never done perfume before. I had no experience whatsoever, and convinced them to hire me based on my portfolio.
Wow. And
said, I'm a really quick study. I love perfume. I've got a good nose. I think you should hire me. And so they did. And I started doing it, and it was just like, oh, yes. I understand this. I know this. This makes sense to me.
Oh, cool.
And so I didn't know about synesthesia at the time, but what I did notice was that all that I was learning in visual arts was something that I could apply directly to my experience of making perfume.
Okay.
So the aesthetic that I was developing, the way that I go about designing a fragrance is exactly how I go about making a painting, thinking about a painting. And it wasn't until much later that I realized, oh, it's because I smell in color and shape and texture. So every aroma has a unique sensibility in that way. It's three-dimensional to me, it's textural, and it has color tonalities. And, so it's very visual.
Interesting.
Anyway, so
cool.
That's the abridged version.
That is the abridged version. Okay. Well, one of my favorite perfumes of yours is Vanille Botanique, and we had reviewed it and also included it in our top 10 vanilla perfumes. At number 1.
Yeah, it's very nice.
We
happy to say.
You're welcome. And we went through, Sheena, my friend, and I went through all of the vanilla perfumes. We're going to discuss and put them in an order, and we came up with yours as being number 1 because it was so unique and great. And
thank you.
What perfumes are we going to talk about today? What did you bring?
So I have a number of things for the show, but the two I really wanted to talk about, one was one of the top fragrances of 2015 for a lot of people. Some people in their top 5, some people in their top 3.
Wow.
For a few, there's number 1. And this is called the Voices of Trees.
Okay.
And it's almost all botanical. So I work in mixed media and all botanical. So like the Vanille Botanique is 100% botanical. And the Voices of Trees is 98.5. So there's just a little bit of a synthetic molecule to give it part of the dewy, leafy feel in the top.
Cool.
Because it's meant to evoke a true pine forest, but also deciduous trees, and in particular the sycamore.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm from the Northeast, so I'm from New York State.
Okay.
And when I was 4 years old, I had my very first overnight trip away from my parents. And of course, it was the 70s, so it was preschool camp. And we camped out in a pine forest. And I had the experience of literally listening to the trees whispering all night.
Wow.
It sounded like they were speaking. And this is a memory that stuck with me as a very deep emotional scent memory for me. And I love the smell of sycamore bark. And in the summertime, it's a very difficult note for me to explain to people if you've never smelled it. It's similar to labdanum, but it doesn't have the smoky feel of labdanum. So it's like labdanum's resinous quality with a kind of like leafy, wet, not really mossy, but if it wasn't moss. It's a little abstract. Anyway, so combining those two early scent memories for me in my childhood, and then creating this fragrant aromatic space in the Voices of Trees, and that's why it's called the Voices of Trees.
I see.
Some speaking trees.
Yeah, it's like a pine forest, totally.
Yeah, it really, it's sort of the smell of my happy place. And what's great is that I think it really works well for both men and women. Certainly men and women are both attracted to it.
Yeah.
I think it has that kind of universal appeal. It does feel, you can tell that it's quite botanical in nature, but it has a nice kind of dynamic range. So it starts in a nice, bright, airy, slightly wet, humid is the word I'm looking for. Humid feel and the green leaves, and then it works sort of like deeper and deeper, and then you're further and further to the forest floor.
I see. That's really beautiful.
Thank you.
It totally does remind me of the trees and the roots and the soil and all that stuff. The leaves, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. I pick up a little bit of something that's also in Vanille Botanique.
Mm-hmm.
So
what do you think it is?
I don't know.
I can tell you what it is.
Sure.
There are a few notes, certainly, that are in both. So Tolu balsam and also Peru balsam are both Vanille Botanique and the Voices of Trees. And there's also a very, very slight bit of labdanum in Vanille Botanique, but not that much. Certainly more pronounced in the Voices of Trees.
I see. Well, beautiful. So this one is a new one or an older one?
So this one came out at the very, very end of 2015.
Oh, cool. So it's fairly new.
It's still pretty new. Yeah. I didn't really mean for it to be, some people were like, oh, it's a fabulous Christmas tree scent, and I didn't really mean it to be that per se. But I can see how it would be interpreted that way, and it certainly came out just before Christmas.
Well, the reason I was saying it has the similarities to Vanille Botanique is because it has something gourmandy in there, like I'm picking up like dough or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, like it's something comforting.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but maybe it's just the fact that you use those notes, the balsam.
Yeah, I do think that labdanum varies quite a bit, so you can get very, very different notes from the same botanical. But I think in both I wanted the sort of more ambery, comforting aspects of labdanum as opposed to more the smoky, incensey elements that you can get.
I see.
Yeah, labdanum is a pretty complex aromatic.
It's used a lot.
So, yes, it's used a lot. I mean, and you can get everything from ambergris-like notes out of it.
Wow.
You can get, the sort of more ambery balsamic tree elements, or you can get these wonderful kind of like smoky. And then there's some that even that are more isolated. So it's not the full labdanum, but it's just isolates that do an almost like smoky and incensey civet.
Oh,
It's
wow.
really fascinating.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So what's next? Which perfume are we going to discuss next?
I'm glad that that's a perfect segue, the civet.
Civet.
So this is actually brand new for 2016. It just came out around Valentine's Day. This is called Rendezvous.
Rendezvous.
And
perfect name for Valentine's.
Exactly. And it's very sensual. It's very animalic. So, the animalics trend, the sort of retro nouveau that's taking everyone by storm. Oh wait, that's the Voices of Trees again. Yeah, I still have that in my hand. Come on. Sorry.
No worries.
Let's go again. I was like, no, that doesn't smell right. There we go.
There we go.
So this is an animalic, indolic, floral, but definitely suitable for men. Of course, with the amount of indole that's in there, jasmine sambac, jasmine grandiflorum, juhi, which comes from India. It's a wonderful jasmine.
Wow.
And it's a CO2, so it gives a different kind of yield. It gives a different element to the flower. And then, of course, all of the animalics. So the traditional ones: civet, castoreum, musk.
Wow. All of it is in here.
Yeah, ambergris and hyraceum.
Wow.
So it's a little no holds barred. If you're not ready for an animalic in the retro nouveau style.
I appreciate it, totally do, and I like the fact that it's kind of going in that direction. I've been hearing a lot about that. Now the flowers, did you mention they were all jasmines or were they?
Oh no, so in orange blossom, so also is rather indolic and can even do a little bit of a smoky quality. And then there's gardenia and tuberose, so
wow.
It's very tropical. But I think what's nice about it is it doesn't necessarily speak to the jungle per se.
No.
It still has, I think, a very French influence. And, you know, some people have asked me if there were any early perfumes or vintage perfumes that influenced it. And
that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah. I'm meeting you. And while my sin does not smell anything like this perfume, I definitely had my sin in mind as I was creating it. More so the wonderful warmth that natural animalics can impart. So some of the animalics are synthetic, so I didn't use true civet. And I didn't use, I use a sort of half and half castoreum, so it's half natural and half, it's an accord. That's synthetic, and synthetic musk. I didn't use natural musk.
Okay.
But there is, of course, the natural Hurwitz, because that's completely cruelty-free.
What's Hurwitz?
What's a Hurwitz? Africa stone, if you've ever read that in ingredients. And would you like to hear about what it is, or maybe not?
No, sure. I think the audience would love to know what that.
So Africa stone got its name because. So it's the urine of the Hurwitz. So it's cruelty-free because it's collected, okay? And it comes out. Hurwitz is kind of, I believe it's a rodent. I'm pretty sure that it is.
Wow.
So it might scare people off, like, or maybe, you know, so civet is less a cat, more a ferret.
Yeah.
And I think it might be someplace between, like, you know, rodent and ferrety kind of animal. It comes from South Africa. So I probably sound really inarticulate, like, I don't know what it is, but it's, I've read about it and I just didn't recall the actual species. But anyway, I do remember the details of how it's collected. So their urine comes out as a gel. It's gelatinous.
Wow.
And then it solidifies into a stone-like substance. And an absolute can be made from it. Most natural perfumers get it and bash it down until it's a powder, and then tincture it and filter it. I buy tincture. I bought some of the Africa stones when it first sort of was introduced, and got the instructions on how to make tincture, and was like, yeah, no. No, I don't think so.
Well, cool.
Yeah, so, but I really love the animalics. I think that animalic fragrances have such a kind of intimacy and a richness and a wonderfully elegant history. And I love that they're coming back. I think it's really, really exciting. And I don't think they all have to be, you know, because civet and the animalics can be a little, you know.
This is a little too much animalic for me.
Yeah, I know. Some people are like, it's a little too fecal, or it's a little too urine, you know. And, I mean, to be blunt. And,
but there's a certain place and time and place for that. It can be very sexy.
I think
erotic.
so. And I think it also, it comes out a little bit more and stays a little bit more in that vein on the filter, or, you know, on the strip. And so on the skin, it warms nicely, and it comes on, I always say it comes on with a growl, but then it softens to a purr. It's definitely much, much softer and warmer, and the florals, you know, come out, but never so much that you're like, and now I'm a gardenia. So
it's a perfect balance.
Yeah, I feel like it's got a really nice balance, and if you're a little intrepid and willing to go there, it's worth it. It's worth going.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So where can people buy your fragrances?
So here in San Francisco, you can go to Tiger Lily. Yay, Antonia. I love your shop. And people can come to dshperfumes.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the only places, pretty much?
Pretty much. We don't do a whole lot of boutiques at this point. Still a small operation. Everything's handmade. So, yeah. I mean, people can also come to Boulder, Colorado. Come to the Essence Studio. It's my shop attached to my studio, so people can come.
Cool.
If you're traveling through the Rockies.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming by and doing this video.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's really fun.
I look forward to seeing the show tonight and tomorrow, the San Francisco Salon.
Yeah.
And
the trunk show at Tiger Lily.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's really exciting.
Cool.
I love San Francisco.
You do?
I do.
It's a great city.
It is.
Very busy.
It's really fun to be here and see all of our friends too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for watching this quick video with Dawn Spencer Hurwitz and her 2 perfumes. If you want to pick up any of them, of course, we mentioned where you can get them at. Please like this video, share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and follow Dawn as well. You have Facebook?
Yep, Facebook DSH Perfumes. Instagram is DSH_artscent, ARTSENT.
Cool.
And yeah, Twitter, all that jazz. So I'm still there.
Follow us, please.
Yeah, share.
Cool. All right, guys. See you later. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Bye.